hello everyone, and thank you for watching the next segment in our leadership series. For those that don't know me, my name is Mandeep Grewal. I'm the founder and managing partner of Lakeshore Human Capital. Lakeshore Human Capital is a retained executive search firm based in Toronto. We recruit primarily at the executive level and higher, and then for selective clients and existing clients, we do some work at the director level as well. Our guest today is my good friend Preet Dhindsa. Preet is the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for ENMAX Corporation in Calgary, Alberta. ENMAX Corporation is a leading provider of electricity services, products, and solutions. Through its subsidiaries, ENMAX Power Corporation and Versant Power, ENMAX owns and operates transmission and distribution utilities in Calgary, Northern and Eastern Maine. Through ENMAX Energy Corporation, ENMAX owns and operates 1,509 megawatts of generation and offers a range of innovative electricity, natural gas, and energy services to more than 674,000 residential, commercial, and industrial customers across Alberta. ENMAX is a private corporation, and the City of Calgary is its sole shareholder. Preet has over 25 years of senior experience spanning a range of industries and markets. Before ENMAX, Preet served as Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Global Banking and Markets at Scotiabank, and was the Executive Vice President, Chief Administrative Officer, and Chief Financial Officer at the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation. Previously, Preet held M&A post-merger integration advisory roles with Ernst & Young and executive positions at Invesco, a publicly traded global asset management firm in the areas of national sales, human resources, and finance. Preet is a CPA and graduated from Western University and holds the Chartered Director designation. Welcome, Preet.
Thank you, Mandeep. Good morning.
Good morning. So we have, Preet, we have probably about 9 or 10 questions for you, just trying to get a better understanding of who you are, your career, and touching a little bit on your leadership and leadership style as well. So maybe I'll just jump into the first question. I'm always curious, not having a finance background, why did you decide to go into accounting or finance as a career choice?
Yeah, so Mandeep, after a mathematics and stats Bachelor of Science degree many years ago, I thought going to the business world was the next step for me, and getting professional designation to feel is always helpful. Gives you a strong foundation financially and otherwise, allows you to have different functional roles, work across different industries, as well as work in any part of the world that you want to. So even looking back 25, 30 years, I still feel that designation is of high value, and I'm glad I did it. It opens doors for, once again, different industries, different geographies, and different functional areas, as well as finance as a strong suit.
Right. Excellent. Preet, I've known you for quite some time, and I've always been interested you've had a bit of a unique career, right? You trained as an accountant. You have worked in both the private and public sector in senior finance roles, sales, and HR roles as well. How did this happen? It's a bit unique.
Mandeep, a lot of people ask me that question, and once again, my strong suit is finance, but over the years, when opportunities come up at different stages in corporations, whether it's advisory firms, large public companies, public sector organizations, what I found is as you gain certain skills and experience in those organizations, you can transcend and take those skills, transcend functional area, transcend industry, transcend geography. But I would not say it's overly strategic or calculated, but when opportunities come up and you're open to it, raise your hand and give it a shot. I think you'll learn a lot, develop a lot, and also provides opportunities for further growth, once again, in different geographies, industries, and different functional areas. So I was glad I had that experience, but when you move from finance to an HR role or HR to a sales role, there's always a learning curve, a material learning curve, but those skills can help you in any part of your career going forward.
Right. Excellent. Over your career, I'm assuming, earlier on in your career, you were a sole contributor, and then you went on, in progressively more senior roles over your, the last 25, 30 years, you've managed teams of varying size. How large of teams have you managed in some of the different roles you've held?
I would say the largest teams I've managed globally is about 300 employees. So 300 employees, we're talking about North America, Europe, Asia Pacific. As well, even in Ontario at OLG, the team was quite large also, a few hundred employees. And I've managed very small teams too. So I like the diversity and size of the teams that I've managed. Depends on the mandate, depends on the global footprint of the organization. And you can scale up or scale down. And this is across a number of different functional areas, not just finance.
Right. Okay. So it's a bit of a general question and a high level question, but how would you describe your own personal leadership style, and how do you get the most out of the people you're responsible for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I find is collaboration works all the time. So if you have a lot of great people around the table, good experience, good skills, institutional knowledge of the organization, put them together with some maybe new people, and then collaborate on a number of different points. And so I would say collaboration is important, diversity of viewpoints is important. I like to create opportunities and platforms for my team to get exposure to key stakeholders, whether it's senior management, it's the board, it's stakeholders outside the corporation, shareholders. So I often find providing development opportunities for folks is very important. And that's another way to add value from a leadership perspective, but also create really good careers for my team members.
Right. And I'm assuming over your career, Preet, you've seen people that you've managed that have gone on to more senior leadership roles. And then conversely, you've probably managed people that, they're just never going to go beyond, the level that they're at, and they get stuck in, at the whether at an associate level or manager level for, their entire career. What would you say are some of the most difficult leadership qualities or skills to develop?
I think one of the things that I've tried to do really well is try to understand where people want to go with their career. As you said, some people want to go upwards and make it broad across different industries or geographies. Others want to be individual contributors in the lane that they're in. So it could be finance, could be IT, could be HR. So understanding upfront and coaching and working with my team to understand where they want to go, because one size does not fit all. Yeah. And in the spirit of being fair, flexible, and supportive to my team members, understanding where they want to go, how I can help them. And they may want to be at a certain stage in a certain lane for 5 years. And then after that, broaden out a bit based on exposure, profile, experiences they may have. So, things change over time, but I would not put everybody in the same bucket. And the key perspective is listening really well and gleaning what you think people want and socializing with them, and then seeing how you can help them progress whichever way they want to go.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. If I remember correctly, I think your eldest is entering the workforce later this fall, and probably his first job, right, out of university. And I'm assuming you've hired a number of new grads over your career as well, Preet. What do you look for personally when you're hiring someone fresh out of university who probably doesn't have a lot of work experience?
Right. So, I resemble that comment almost 30 years ago. So not with a lot of work experience. But one of the ways that I think people can break into the work environment today is, number one, is the attributes. They need an education in certain professions, of course, not all, but lots they do. Number two, what attributes do they have? So it's a lot of the PQ as opposed to the IQ, and understanding what they bring to the table, which is a lot of social skills, interaction skills, listening skills, being thoughtful to team members, being inclusive, being collaborative, all those attributes and style points I think are important that enhance above and beyond the academic qualifications. Right. Then you get into the workforce and you want somebody who's got energy, who has drive, wants to learn, once again, wants to interact and integrate well into the company. And I also look for those individuals who want to go a little bit more broadly, whether it's functionally or globally, because I think the world's getting smaller. And I do think a lot of folks sitting here in Canada, I think there's opportunities all over the world for the next generation. So look for attributes, a good education, but also the drive and energy to succeed and integrate really, really well. Right.
And how does this differ? And I'm assuming it does differ is, you've hired more seasoned executives, people with, 15, 20 years worth of experience. What are specific things you look for in some of those senior hires when you're having them join you, whether you were at OLG or at Scotia or in your new organization?
Yeah, the first thing is, what's the function that I'm hiring for? Let's say it's a deep treasury function. So somebody very experienced would have that knowledge.
Right.
And I'd want them to come in and manage that very well. It's a very important portfolio as one example. And I would look at their background. Clearly, they're credentialized. They've got the skills, they've got the qualifications. I ask them at that stage, why do you want this role at this time in your career? And then where do you want to go? And they don't have to stay in the role forever, but maybe it's 3 to 4 years. But I'm more about why do you want this role as opposed to why do you want to enter the workforce in this profession? That's the difference between a experienced hire and a new grad, perhaps. And I often find that different people at different levels of their career and different tenures want different things and they want to go at different places upon retirement or when they choose the next chapter in their career. So I'll try to manage through that.
Okay, interesting. I know I interview a lot of senior executives, and I've always been under. It's obvious that as the more senior you get, a lot of times the busier you get. Work becomes almost all-consuming. Preet, personally to you, what is important to you outside of work, and how does that give you balance in your life?
Yeah, during the work days, especially now that we're all working remote and through different time zones, the work day gets longer and longer all the time. And so for me personally, I need the quiet time early mornings. I shut down at certain time of night. I like to travel a lot pre-COVID and post-COVID, but the last 15 months or so, it's been kind of stay at home a fair bit. A lot of family time. I think during the COVID environment that we're in, the family time's been important, having the kids back home and different relationships, which frankly, as kids go off to university and start work, they're not at home as often, but they have been home, which is pleasant. Yeah. Eating meals at home is important as opposed to going out all the time and spending time as a family. And so a number of things I like to do, and stay active, exercise as much as possible, and just keep a positive mind and outlook.
Yeah. Is there I'm always, I'm big into fitness, and I love reading about athletes and how that the mindset and the skill set and the rituals that they develop in their athletic careers and how that translates into the business world. Is there a specific exercise regimen or something you follow, Preet, to keep you operating at a high level?
Yeah, you know what? It's just once again staying active, diversity of what we do to stay active. Sometimes it's sitting in the gym, sometimes taking a walk, sometimes walking up a hill. Different types of exercises and different types of activities important. And team sports has always been good to me, and I've enjoyed it. Don't do a lot of that anymore, but still find ways to stay active and stay engaged. Peloton's another one, which is it's hard to get one these days. Takes 3 months or so. But that's another one.
Exercise bike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's another one. Great instructors. As you have a partner there all the time driving and pushing you, in absence of once again going to a gym with a coach, with a trainer, because those things are been shut down off and on over the last year, as we know.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, listen, that's all the questions I had, Preet. I really appreciate you doing this, and I'm sure it's going to be really helpful to those who view it.
Great. Thank you very much, Mandeep. Have a nice day.